So if you've been in the industry like I have, as long as I have, you run into a lot of consumers or potential boat owners who kind of ask the question, what's the difference between the automotive industry and the marine industry? So that is what we will be covering in this episode, kind of in terms of service. Again, if you guys are interested in any education, check out Nautic Ed. They have both sailing and power courses, and that will be linked in the show notes below. Okay, so let's talk about automotive versus marine. So the first subject we're going to cover is parts availability. So car parts are typically easy to source and often available for next day delivery with a single supplier. So basically, if you have the part numbers, you can pretty much get those easy. Now, marine, on the other hand, boat parts come from multiple sources depending on the component, whether it's the hull, engine, electronics, or hardware, each with its own supplier network. Part numbers aren't always consistent, and sourcing requires technicians at times to connect with different suppliers directly. And even with the used boat market, some of these components just don't exist anymore. So you have to find some aftermarket type of parts, and it can turn into a daunting task to try to find these parts. Okay, next one, manuals and diagnostics. So automotive car manuals are usually very detailed with diagnostic steps, making it very straightforward for technicians to pinpoint and resolve issues. Marine, on the other hand, boat manuals aren't as comprehensive, and troubleshooting guidance is pretty limited. So essentially, if you hire a marine technician to show up, it's really going to rely on their hands-on experience for them to diagnose what's going on. And what ends up happening is that you have a problem with the boat, and a service business will show up the first time to just try to figure out and piece together all the different issues. You know, sometimes I've seen marine technicians come in and work on a project for weeks, and then turns out it was just like something wasn't plugged in correctly. Now, let's take a look at usage and longevity, automotive versus marine. So cars are built to handle regular and varied use and undergo rigorous testing to perform reliability checks across climates and terrains. Boats, on the other hand, remain inactive for extended periods of time, often in humid or wet environments, which leads to issues that, from moisture and disuse. So servicing these boats requires extra attention to these specific challenges. Now, access to components. Cars are generally accessible, allowing technicians to perform repairs efficiently and complete test drives with minimal hassle. Marine, on the other hand, boats require special handling for certain repairs, like lifting the boat from the water or hauling tools across the dock. Testing repairs often means putting the boat back in the water, and some repairs even need multiple stages, increasing the time and effort. Now let's talk about how complex these systems are. So cars are primarily designed for transportation, focusing on a single use function, where boats integrate several complex systems, engine mechanics, electrical systems, plumbing, and sometimes full living spaces. Boat technicians often need a broad range of skills, for engine repair to electrical work, plumbing, and carpentry. So at some level, if you have multiple projects on a boat, you're going to have to hire different technicians in different companies in order to fix these things. But again, these are some of the larger factors between the automotive industry and the boating industry. And again, this episode is brought to you by Nautic Ed, and take a look at their products in the show notes.